simple ClickUp tutorial for beginners. Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, I'll be showing you guys how you can get started with ClickUp. ClickUp is an online, easy-to-use project manager, which can also help you in building CRMs as well as managing your remote work. ClickUp has a wide variety of features that you can integrate, as well as customize some pre-existing templates. You can easily work with guests as well as team members in your workspace to make sure that you have a productive work environment. So let's get started with ClickUp. Now, to get started, simply click on sign up, and then you're going to put in your email address. Once you do that, you're going to put in your full name, and then you're going to choose a password that you want to use for ClickUp. Once you've done that, click on play with ClickUp over here to get started with your sign up process. Now, once you have completed your sign up, you are going to get an email address to verify your email. And then you're just going to click on over here to verify your email address and to proceed with your account setup. Now, I'm just going to answer a couple of questions. These are basic onboarding questions. It really doesn't matter how you answer these because I like to build from scratch anyways. At the end, it will ask you to invite people to your workspace. So if you already have an idea in mind on the people that are going to be collaborating with you on your projects, then you can add those over here. And then you're just going to click on I'm done. Lastly, you are going to name your default workspace. Usually this should illustrate the business name that you have. So for my business, let's say it's called Durden. Now, after that, I'm going to click on finish over here to complete my onboarding onto ClickUp. Now, once you do that, you will see you will have a basic welcome, and we're just going to skip on ahead, and you will see your workspace is now being set up. Now, let's understand the hierarchy of ClickUp before we get into how to actually use it. So once you create your account on ClickUp, you can access it from the top right. From here, you can also access your profile info, the theme that you want to use, so you can choose a primary color that you would like to use. Then you have your settings as well as notification settings. All of these are only applicable to you because these are your particular settings. If you take a look at the right panel over here, you're going to have your workspace. Your workspace is a shared area where you can invite other people and you can work together. A workspace has one owner, and then they can also have managers or administrators as well as normal workspace members. You can click on settings over here to change the labels as well as manage the workspace. Now, another thing to note is that even with one account, you can build multiple different workspaces. So if I'm running two different businesses and I have two different sets of employees working, so let's say I have agency 1 and agency 2, I can click on create new workspace and build a secondary workspace. So let's say I have my production agency. Now, if I have a secondary agency or secondary business, I can proceed with that over here and I can add different members. One thing to note is that between different workspaces, you are not going to have any overlap of data. So I can't take any of my boards or data from one workspace into the other. Now, this is our new empty workspace for our production agency. To manage this, I can click on settings and then I can go on ahead and improve the overall space. I can change the logo, so we have different applications. We have our basic icon or logo, we have the required views, and then you also have security and permissions of your particular workspace. Now let's get started with building in our workspace. You will see on the left of any workspace panel, you have a home section, a inbox, docs section, and in your docs section, you have an area that can help you in making sure all of the information regarding a project is shared within. So this can help you in managing documents and having tasks all be linked together. Then you have a dashboard section that is going to be a visual cue for you. After that, you have a more section where you can access your whiteboard. You also have goals and then timesheets. Now, below that, you have your favorite section where you can favorite certain boards. And then after that, you have your everything section. Below that, you actually have your spaces, and I am going to delete the space section first. And we're going to build our own customized space, so I can just delete that. And now I will click on create space. Now you have two different options. You can get started with a template, and there are a bunch of different templates available on ClickUp. There are many different templates for project management as well, But I, for one, want to build something from scratch because I want this to be customized to my particular style. So what I'm going to do is click on Create Space, and I'm going to name my space. Let's say this is going to be App A Production, because I'm developing a app. It's called A, and I want to produce it, so I just want to manage all of that together. After that, you have the space description. So I will add my description for this particular project. And for any project, there are a few core elements that need to be integrated. First off is our initiation. So in our basic initiation, I am going to add our description, something along the lines of everything about the A development, like this. After that, you are going to choose a representative color as well as a representative icon or avatar. I want to use this one over here, and I'm going to go for a pink color and then click on Next. After that, you can choose who this board is going to be visible to. So I want everyone in my production agency workspace to be able to see it. After that, you have your basic task statuses. So we have different templates as well as active statuses, done statuses, and then complete statuses. Now I want to customize this, so I'm going to rename the to-do section to tasks like this. And if you want, you can later on customize these as well, so don't worry if you don't like them. And then I'm going to change the color of the tasks to be green as well, like so. And then after that, on the left, you have different options such as your content. So in your content section, you have different types of statuses, such as ready, writing, approval, rejected, published. Now, Clickup has suggested these particular statuses based on the title of my workspace. However, I might want to set statuses differently. So I might want to add priority-based statuses. I want to maybe add new, renewing, approved, rejected. So if I want to change my statuses, I am going to set the first status, which is going to be new in, then it's going to maybe be in review, because that is going to be the process of my application approval. So because I'm developing a mobile app, so I want to review everything first. Then I want to add my next section, which is going to be the approved one. And then I'm going to change the color of approved to a dark green. And then I'm going to delete some of these. I have approved, and then I want to keep rejected. I don't want a status called published because I want to determine that based on different sectioning. And I'll show you guys later what I mean by that. Now, once you do that, you can go on ahead and further customize. You can click on Save Template on the left, then click on Kanban. Then you also have your marketing. Now, I can click on Delete Marketing, and then you can delete this status template. So you can customize this however you like. I am going to be deleting the Scrum, the Normal, and the Marketing sections because they are not applicable right now. Now I'm going to click on Next, and then you're going to choose the applications that you are going to need. So in my particular space, I want to have priorities, I want emailing functions, I want sprints, I have multiple assignees, I also want time tracking, time estimates, and then I also want to not remap due dates, I want incomplete warnings, work in progress, dependency warnings, status bars, reschedule dependencies, and in your sprints, you can click on default settings as well to change the setting of a sprint. So in your sprint folder, you have a particular duration, and then you have the day as well as non-working days. Now, this is totally up to you. You can override these settings later on by going into your sprint settings. Now, I'm going to turn off sprints for now just because it's a feature that can be too complicated for beginners, but I'm going to click on Next over here. After that, you have your required views. I'm going to keep the list view and the board view, and then click on Review Space. Once I've done that, I'm going to click on Create Space. Now, once we have created our first space, it will automatically build our first list. Now, I'm going to rename this list because this particular list is going to be our idea board. Now, idea board can function as a section where all of the people that are working for me can show their particular creative design that can include different types of ideas that they might have, any mood boards that they want to build, anything else they want, they can go on ahead and add it in the idea board. Now, within our idea board, we can add different levels. Now to do that, I'm going to go into the board view. And obviously things are not going to be completed here. This is just a section for people to elaborate or think in. So I don't need this. I'm going to rename the complete status into approved ideas. And then I want this to be for this particular list only. And then I'm going to rename this status into ideas. Now, in this section, any person can create a task, and within that task, they can add any kind of idea that they have. If the idea is good enough, it would be moved to approved ideas and then can be later managed on the rest of our boards. Now, after that, I'm going to build a second board within the App A production. So I'm going to go on ahead, go into App A production, click on boards, and we are going to go on ahead and build a new board within our space. So I can set it up as I have set up the previous one, or you can also choose to duplicate your board as it is, just copy everything, and then you can rename it like this. And then I can build a second board, which could be my idea execution, like this. Now, in my idea execution board, I can get started with building different types of groupings as well as priorities and statuses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head on over into the list view, and we have the ideas section. Now, instead of ideas, I'm going to rename that into tasks. And then once I add a task, so for example, I have a task which might be to use pink buttons in the App A female character version. So I can insert that over here. Now, on the top right, you have the assignees, the due date, and I can set a due date for this particular task. You can also set a task as recurring if it is something like a meeting or any other administrative task. Then you also have the priority of a task that you can set. You can also go into the priority column and hide or remove a column if it is not necessary for your business or project. After that, if there is more information about a task, you can click on Add Column and add different types of columns. So I want to add another column for statuses. So for that, I can choose a dropdown. I will rename this dropdown to be the status of a task. And let's say the first option is going to be new in. The second option is going to be in review or new in review. The third is going to be approved, and the fourth is going to be rejected, like this. Now I have built 5 options, and I will just click on Add Column. Now for every task that is created, I can select a status. And whenever a new task is created, we can build a new status to make sure that we know whether or not this task is a priority task, if it has been approved by upper management or administration. Now, after that, you can get started with building a task template as well for common types of tasks or ideas to ensure consistency of information throughout your collections. So you can click on Add Task, or if I take this task that I've created as an example, below that you have details. You also have subtasks as well as action items. Keep in mind that subtasks and action items are 2 different things. Action items are usually very specific, and subtasks can be a bit general or a bit larger as well. On the top of every task, you have the timer options to start time tracking the number of hours or minutes that are spent in accomplishing a task. You also have a add time estimate where you can type in a suggested time that it will take to complete a task. You also have the option to add different tags that can help you in categorization. Now, utilizing tags is something a lot of people don't realize is very important. For my particular app development, let's say I want to utilize tags in a very interesting way. So what I would do is I would go into tags, and I can utilize the tags to help me in understanding what section of the app is this task related to. Because someone else is building the characters, someone else might be building the backgrounds, someone else might be developing, the social media interfaces. All of that is very segregated sometimes. So to utilize my tags, I can create different tags such as user interface or notifications. So this might be for user interface. So I know that this particular task is related to the user interface. This can help in all the people knowing what a task is about. So this can help in making sure that all of your tasks look consistent, and anyone that is glancing over the tasks can see a pattern and follow a theme. Now, you can organize your tasks into different categories. So this is just a hierarchy. If I want, I can, in my tasks execution or idea execution, I can build a task organization such as features, and then I can go on ahead and build a secondary bucket where I can rename this. So I'm going to edit this particular one, and I'm going to rename this status into maybe design, and then add status into improvements. Now, if you are going to be doing this, so if you are adding different buckets in the form of just making sure what is going to be done, you don't have a completed status in this. So because you don't have a completed status, this is actually a completed status. It's a non-editable or removable status. Usually I like to keep it at completed, but if you want, you can hide this as well, because sometimes it can be a bit of a hassle to remove it. So let's say I have notifications like this. Now, I have these different statuses, however, none of these illustrate the completion of a task. So if you want to do a task organization like this, you can either drag and drop a task into the completed section, or you can also do a status or drop-down based completion. So you can go on ahead and go into your task, and you can see different statuses over here. Now, I like to do this in a list view just because it's easier. I have the status of new in, approved, rejected. Now I can add or edit options and then add another option called completed, like this. Now, this would illustrate when a task is completed like this, so I don't have to worry about, different tasks being done or time or not. Now, with each individual task on ClickUp, you have different descriptions and attachments you can add. I do encourage you guys to write a detailed description, especially if your team members are the ones that are going to be working on it. You can ease up your descriptions by typing in a slash, and this will give you multiple different types of suggestions onto the different things you can insert. This includes some interesting text, due dates, recommended things, closing tasks, and assignments. Now, building a simple list view or a board view is not going to be effective for most larger groups or projects. You can go on ahead and go into your workspace, board, whatever board it might be, click on the view icon on the top, and build a different view. So if I want a calendar view, for me to be able to see where our particular tasks are going, how many people are doing what, how long it's going to take for us to complete this project, I can do that as well. Now, you can customize your calendar. I'm just going to call it calendar. And you have calendar options over here as well, where you can insert the start and due dates. You can color tasks by their statuses. Then you can also have a time format. You have your weekends, our grids, fair trade in the past, show week numbers, always stay on date. Then you also have fields in here where you can choose to show certain information like the assignee, the priority of a particular task. Now, once you've completed this, you will be able to see any of the tasks on a calendar as well. Within that, you will also see on the right a section of the overdue tasks and the unscheduled tasks. If you open up the unscheduled tasks, you can drag and drop them into any particular date and they will be scheduled with that due date. This can be a great way to bulk organize tasks that have been uncertain and that you might have been putting off. Now, after you have set up your basic boards, it's very integral that you set up notifications. You can see on the top left, you have a few different automations available, and then you also have integrations within automations. So you can do this for your personal self, or you can also do this for the workspace. You can go on ahead and open any board and click on automations on the top left. Now, once you click on automations on the top left, you can go on ahead and click on browse. There are multiple different types of automations available, and these automations can help you in managing your daily project. So if your project has a lot of different daily tasks and you want to be updated, you can get notified. You also have different automations that are related to other applications. You can easily integrate things like GitHub, email, Calendly, HubSpot, Twilio as well, to be able to get more info about your business or your project on the go. Now, let's say upon the priority. So whenever a priority changes, so let's say I want to build my own automation. Now, if you can't find an automation that you find to be useful, you can click on Add Automation on the top left. And let's say whenever a status changes, and whenever the status goes from, let's say whenever a priority changes from high to urgent, or I can select from no priority, low, normal to high or urgent, then I want to maybe change the due date, or I want to estimate time, track time. Let's say I want to call webhook. And then after that, you can get a live update of your task. Now, if you don't want to upgrade to a premium plan on Clickup, then you can proceed with a task or comment that you can add. So if your team members or people on the team are going to be doing the tasks, you can always add something a bit authoritative so your team members know that you are actually viewing the tasks. So you can add automation such as unprocessed work will face consequences, or whatever message you might want to give to anyone that is, spending extra time on their tasks. Now you can click on Create over here on the bottom, and then your new automation will be built. Now, this is just a basic example of an automation. You can add multiple different automations. So let's say if you have something like whenever an idea goes from ideas to approved ideas, I might want to move it into the idea execution board. I can click on automations over here, click on browse, and then whenever a task type changes the list, whenever a task, so let's say whenever the status changes or whenever a task is approved, I want to move it to a particular list. I want to create a new list and I want to maybe put it in this particular list. So, you can create a new automation in a different board that can help you in just filtering out your ideas as well. Now, after that, a newly introduced feature on Clickup on the top right is recording clips. So you can record a clip over here and share your screen. This can be helpful for you to be able to build onboarding for your teammates, for your members, for your employees, and it can help you in making sure people are able to understand how to use Clickup, even though it is a very intuitive platform. Now, moving on to the next section, we've built a basic project manager, but how do we move forward from a project manager to something that can boost our productivity? Well, for that, you can go into dashboards on the top left, click on Create Dashboard over here, and choose the dashboard that you want. Now, I want this to be from my idea execution and idea board, and I'll click on Apply. Now, this will automatically create a basic dashboard for us. And in your dashboard, you have unassigned tasks, you have in progress, completed, tasks completed this week, the latest activity. Below that, you have tasks due this week or overdue, the workload by status, the total tasks by assignee, and tasks opened by the assignee. Now, this can just help you in denoting all of your basic information within Clickup. So as you guys can see, we have the option to resize our widgets and customize them. And on the top right, you can click on Add Card and add another card on your list. So if I want to display something else, so workload by status like this, I can click on Add Card, and this card will be inserted, and I can customize this however I want. You can obviously remove some of the pre-existing template-based cards that have been added. I don't need to know the open tasks, so I'm going to delete this. And I don't need to know the total tasks. I just want to know the workload status. And then below that, I'm going to remove this one. And then after that, if I want to add some more information, let's say this is regarding the completed report, so I can get a understanding of what has been completed. And I want this from the idea execution board only. And I want to know what has been completed today. And then I can filter those tasks out as well. If I want to include archive tasks, if I want to include multiple tasks, subtasks, as well as subtask parent names. And then I'm going to add this card. And then this will help me in seeing what happened in one particular day and can help you in making sure that your particular day is spent in a well-versed way for your team. Now, other than your dashboard feature, for more brainstorming and to execute more of your brain power, you have a whiteboard feature on the left. Now, in your whiteboard feature, you can click on Create Whiteboard and create any sort of whiteboard. This is just brainstorming like this, and click on Create Whiteboard. Now, this can be a public whiteboard, like this is available to my entire workspace, or it can be a whiteboard that is only private to you. And you have a few different template options like a sticky note pack, a matrix, animal drawing, reverse brainstorming, flowcharts, concept mapping, stand-up, and multiple different things that you can do. This can just be a great way for you to be able to build on Clickup. So let's say I want to do some concept mapping. So this will just give me like a really big little template. And let's say I want to just think of the main concept of my app. Let's say I'm building a iOS game, and then the sub-concept is maybe going to be fantasy, and then I can add the fantasy related concepts over here, and I can find different links and interconnections and overlaps between the ideas I'm thinking about. Now this is just one example. You can go into the left and you can even do some of your own freehand drawings over here. You can post your own sticky notes, shapes, text, and more. And all of that can help you in just making a good use out of the creative space available on Clickup. Now, other than that, Clickup also has time tracking, and you can use that time tracking to build your timesheets. You can do that by going into the left panel, click on More, and you will find timesheets over here. Once you do that, you will be able to see a particular time tracker, and you can click on Billing on the top left, and you can choose how you want to be billed, or bill other people. If you want it to be by task or by all entries of time tracking, and then if you want it to be on all sheets. Now, if I want to get started with time tracking, I can go into the quick menu item on the top right, and you can find a shortcut or build a shortcut over here. And you can see you have the track time shortcut, and I can just pin this. And once I do, I have this option on the top right at all times, and you can set this as a billable hour that you are tracking. You can add your labels and description for the amount of time that you are spending, what particular task were you doing. You can select that as well. And this can help you in managing payroll or having a rough draft of your payroll directly in Clickup. And for any project, all of these essential tools are integrated into a all-in-one package on Clickup. Plus, if you take a look at Clickup, they actually have a free plan, and all the features that I showed you guys today were on the free plan of Clickup. However, if you do want to upgrade to be able to access managing billable paid hours, to be able to access certain views such as Gantt views or timeline views on Clickup, you can always upgrade to the unlimited plan starting at $7 per user per month. And then you even have the business plan, which starts at $12 per user per month. All of these have unlimited storage, integrations, dashboards, as well as guest additions. So you can add other people into your Clickup dashboard with specific limited permissions so they can view the relevant work that they might be related to. It's a really simple and easy to use tool and can help you in making sure that your team remains as productive in their project. And it takes you from all of these stages of your project. So with Clickup, you can get started with initiation, with planning, execution, monitoring, and closure of your entire project using its simple and easy to use board system. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions or queries, leave those in the comment box down below. I would love to know what you guys have to say.